Hey, aloha, NFL fans. This is Jeff Reinebold. We're back with the Jeff Reinebold Show for Pro Football Ireland and 888 Sport, the official gambling partner of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. We got a lot to talk about before a big Thursday nighter tonight in the NFC North. The Lions host the Green Bay Packers. Traditional rival game, great football teams. Going to really be an outstanding game, I think. Welcome the guy that I enjoy talking with every week, multiple times now every week, Michael McQuaid. How you doing, Mike?
Jeff, good to see you, man. Yeah, I share the sentiments. I enjoy speaking with you also. It's good crack. I think I speak to you more than I speak to my wife at the minute, which says an awful lot in a good way. Jeff, I got some news for you, right? First off, people on the podcast listening to this, happy Friday. So we go the day after on the podcast. So your opinions and values are as much important as everybody else's. If you're live, let us know on the comments. Well, this is the pick segment. Jeff, very quickly before we start for the week, your best friend Travis Kelce and his new girlfriend. I have to bring this up because I've got news. She's going to the game on Sunday, and I'm going on like the main radio station in Northern Ireland tomorrow morning to talk about it. This is turning into like a whole.
You know what? I tell you, it's like I'm not I don't get the whole deal, right? I really don't, to be honest with you. I mean, it's two people, right? And give them their privacy and all of that, but it has been absolutely a phenomenon how much this has meant to not only, I guess, Travis Kelce's exposure, and it's to hear his brother Jason say that she catapulted him into the big time. That's taking a shot at his own brother. But just the sheer amount of likes and follows and inquiries about the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs and all of it, it has been a tremendous boost to the National Football League, as if the National Football League needed a boost. But with with fans that are people that aren't fans, maybe even that just are curious about this phenomenon of, Travis Kelce. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic.
It's bananas, but you're right, because like, to get a phone call earlier on, like, will you come on the radio and talk about this? It shows you people that literally know nothing about Travis Kelce, but are like, all right, well, maybe we should talk about this. So this is nuts. So yeah, if you hear me in the radio, give me a shout out tomorrow. I'll try and reference Jeff Reinebold as well. But couldn't believe it. It's like, okay, I'll go on the phone. This is a sidetrack into our show. You mentioned that video clip with Jason and Travis had. I listened to the podcast this week, really enjoyed it. Some natural criticism. They spend like 2 minutes talking about sponsors. Now, we are presented by 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the NFL in Ireland and the UK. And let's move on and make our picks, man. This is turning into my favorite time of the week. Like, I love the Monday morning stuff. I love chatting to you on Monday night. I love chatting to the boys on the Wednesday. But I love these picks because I feel, Jeff, that there's going to be a week where we get this completely bang on, and there's also going to be a week where we get a completely bang off. Detroit Green Bay was the game for people on the podcast that is on Thursday night, or was on Thursday night. Jeff, I am picking the Lions to go into Lambeau and make the big statement win against Green Bay, my man.
I just think it's really interesting. There's so many stories around this one. Bakhtiari's not playing. But Packers are actually pretty chewed up, and the Lions are I think a little healthier. It's just so hard for me right now and I really want to tap the brakes on the Lions. I want them to win. I'm just going to tell you that flat out. I was a Lions fan as a little kid, and I want to see him win. I'm a Jared Goff fan. I think he got just abused while he was in both St. Louis and LA. And I think that if there's any chance for the Lions, he's going to have to play well. They've got to run the ball. I did a breakdown that I put out on the internet. You can catch it on my Twitter account and my Instagram account. And for the Lions, they've got 3 first-round draft choices in that offensive line, and they're all going to play tonight. And Jackson, their left guard, is a 3rd-round pick. They've invested really heavy into that offensive line. They have to win the line of scrimmage against the Packers. I really, truly believe that. I don't know if they have the talent outside past St. Brown and Laporta to be able to win a shootout against, Love and the weapons that he's going to have with available to him with the Packers. So would I love to see the Lions win? Yes, the Lions are actually, I think, 2-point favorites in this thing, but I just have a hard time going against the Packers.
So for people on the podcast on Friday morning, one of us is already wrong, and we'll see what happens tomorrow morning or on Friday morning already. I'm talking like Marty McFly here in the doc in the future, so I got to shut up. Anyway, one thing is definitely in the future going to be there Sunday, 2:30 p.m. UK Ireland, 9:30 Eastern. The Falcons against the Jags at Wembley. First off, I'm going to take the Jags in this game. I think the Jags are going to put a statement win down. I need to stop saying statement, but I like the Jags offense. I feel like after last week's loss against Houston, they're going to come back and they're going to come into familiar territory in London and they're going to get it done. I'd be wary of the run game for Atlanta, but I think the Jags get it done in a close game. Did you see what ESPN's doing, like the Toy Story broadcast? Does that give you? Have you any interest in that, Jeffrey?
No, no, not personally. All right, but I'm not. Here's the thing, right? With it's all football, right? And if you got to get your football through Toy Story or what was it, SpongeBob SquarePants in the past, and everybody climbed when they scored a touchdown. Like, I don't care. Just get your football however you can get your football. But to me, obviously, I want to watch the game. I want to see the game. I think this is going to be an intriguing game, Mike. You're right. This is like a home game for Jacksonville. But Atlanta is, I think, a little bit of a sleeper team. They have really improved on defense. They bring in some veterans, Calais Campbell. They bring in Jesse Bates at safety. I think they're much better on defense than they've been in the past. Again, what concerns me about Jacksonville is, you had a Houston team. That's a team. Those are the games you got to win. If you're going to be division champions, you got to win those games. And they just didn't perform very well. I think they'll bounce back though. And I'm like you. I'm going to take Jacksonville in London.
If people wondering, they've got a broadcast. If you have a Wayne, as I say, or a kid, do you say Wayne? No, child.
No.
Oh, Wayne. Well, this is what they have. So basically, they're turning. I've got their. Hold on. So they're basically putting it in like a child's real time. I mean, look. I'll be honest with you. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I like it. It's good for children, so
it's genius. It is genius. And what are they doing? It's marketing, right? You're getting every demographic. It's the NFL couldn't have scripted it better. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, right? And we've already seen what the numbers generated have been, right? And so now you're going after the young kids because they're going to grow up. And if one broadcast can hook them into football, I think it's great because that's more fans, that's more players, that's more everything. And the game continues to grow exponentially around the world. Mike, you are going to London, correct? All right.
Yes, sir.
You will see the second best pro football game day. And it's the first best when you compare it to everything that's not titled Super Bowl Sunday. The games in London and the games in Europe are the best game day environments, I think, anywhere, right? Because what you see there is a collection of fans from all 32 teams, just like you do at the Super Bowl, right? You go to the Bills-Dolphins game this weekend in Buffalo, it's going to be a riot. I mean, it's going to be a great environment, but it's going to be the Bills and the Dolphins fans, right? But when you go to the game in London, it's like going to the Super Bowl. You're going to see jerseys and from every team. You're going to even see jerseys from the old NFL Europe days, right? I mean, that's how cool this thing is. And the other thing is, sadly, what's starting to happen more and more in the stadiums around the United States, and everybody's got a cell phone now and everybody's capturing everything. There's too much violence in the stadiums now. And I think the NFL is going to have to really make a move to crack down on that, because if you bring your kids to a stadium, you don't want to have to see them watch two drunken guys rolling over the rails fighting each other.
This is good stuff, man. This is good stuff. I'm loving it. I agree with you. London has something special. Wembley, as a soccer fan, is the Mecca. So bring it on. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good game. I'll send you a wee WhatsApp or a FaceTime from
All
London
right, I
on
love
Sunday.
it.
Looking forward to it. We will be in London on Sunday. So if you listen to Jeff or have ever seen us before and you see us, please do come out and say hello to us. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a couple of microphones and a camera. So see the crack. Right, we need to run through some games here. Big
Yep.
time. Big shout out to Taylor Swift and to Toy Story for the interruption there, but I love the analysis. Miami Buffalo. Let's just go there next. Jeff, in typical NFL fashion, I'm not being bitter as a Broncos fan. I think that Buffalo's defense is going to shut down Tua and not allow him to maybe have as much time as he'd like. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. I think it's a tight game.
Are you trying to convince yourself?
Yes.
Just
But
because
I think the Bills win this game.
They hung 70 on your ponies.
On the donkeys.
You're trying to convince yourself that offense that scored 70 and could have had 100 if they wanted, right? I really think they could have, because midway through the fourth quarter, they had 70, right? You mean to tell me you think that on a 71-degree day, a clear day with no wind in Buffalo, that the Bills are going to stop that offense? No. On top of it, if that offense is even better on Sunday because Jalen Waddle's coming to town. He got cleared today in the concussion protocol, so he's probably going to play this weekend. I'm just teasing in some ways. It's amazing to me, though, that the Bills are actually 2.5-point favorites, and to bet the Bills at 2.5, you got to pay juice in the United States, right? Which means you got to pay extra to get that bet. So I think the bettors, the pro bettors, the guys that are real sharps, they're all saying Buffalo. What are you saying?
Buffalo by a field goal. I think it'll be a great game. I think it'll be a tight game. I think for the neutral fan, you want to see a close game, an entertaining game. I think if Buffalo want to put a marker down, they win this game. 100%. They scored 37 last week. Sketchy enough week one. Remind the league, remind the AFC who you guys are. You're the champs. You're the AFC East champs. You got to show that in Buffalo this week. I think it would be a huge marker to put down against a team that put up 70 last week. Big time.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a litmus test of both teams, right? We're going to find out if that, Miami offense is really that, or are the Bills really the number one, the top dog in the AFC East. Now, there's a lot of barking going on right now in Buffalo.
Woof, woof.
And I swear to you, I really think that Miami will win the game. I really do. And they're the dog, and they're, a 3-point dog, really. But I'm just telling you, they are so dynamic, and they're better than they were last year defensively, right? And that's important, because you remember last year when we saw these teams play at the end of the season, right? And Miami's trying to play with with their backup quarterback and a defense that could only do one thing, and that's blitz every down. And they actually had an opportunity to beat Buffalo in the winter, in the cold. Now it's a 71-degree day in Buffalo with no wind. I'm taking the fish.
Did you give your pick for Jacksonville, Atlanta?
I didn't.
Who's going to win? If you pick Atlanta, we've went against each other in every game so far.
Okay, then I'm taking Atlanta just because it's going against you.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Hey, we're trying to make this thing interesting. If I said I agree with everything you say, nobody'd listen.
All right, we got to roll through some games because we're taking a bit of time here. Denver, Chicago. I'm gonna say Denver.
Toilet bowl. This is
toilet bowl. If this is the toilet bowl, what's the tissue paper? Because this is pretty much. This is like I don't care who wins this game. Like, that's bad. Like,
I'm gonna say the Broncos bounce back, and it will be the Chicago Bears that are circling in the water at the end.
In Lakeshore Drive.
No, in the toilet bowl.
Let's roll through a couple just because we can spend more time on different games. Minnesota at Carolina. I think this is a game where Minnesota get a win, unless
I
Kirk
do,
Cousins becomes a
I do
Jet this
too.
Saturday morning.
I do too. I believe you also.
And I have nothing against Carolina. I think they put up a decent fight in Seattle last week, and it just is what it is. What other game could we roll through very quickly here? There's a lot of games in the early window. Let's just go to the next one. Baltimore Cleveland's a big game. Big game. AFC North. Big slaughterhouse, man. That being said, I'm taking the Ravens. Ravens going in the woof woof dog pound. They're gonna win, man.
I think so too. I think the Ravens are healthier. They had 7 starters out in the game they lost last week. Those guys, most of them will be back. I'm going to take the Ravens.
We're rolling through this now. Pittsburgh going into Houston. Now TJ Watt's going to be on the field at halftime when his brother JJ is getting honored by the Houston Texans. Houston Texans have scored 57 points in offense in the last 2 weeks. Steelers defense. This is a hard one to predict because you can see it's a real, not like a banana skin sort of game for the Steelers, but in their own right, the Texans have been a good team, a good offense so far this season. I'm going to take the Steelers by a field goal. I think it's be one of the better games of the weekend.
I agree with you. I think it'll be electric in that stadium. Honoring J.J. Watt and T.J. being there to watch it, and the whole thing's really a great story. But that's about where it ends for the Texans. They're much better, but they haven't played a defense like the Steelers yet. And then we saw signs of what the Steelers' offense can be last week. So I'm going to take the Steelers to go out in Houston, take care of business.
If the Texans were to put a marker down against the Steelers' defense, where does their expectation go for this season if they won that game?
Oh, hey, the thing too that nobody talks about, and because he wasn't the guy that everybody anointed, is C.J. Stroud is having a great rookie season. Again, he hasn't played a defense like Pittsburgh has yet, so it'll be interesting to see how he does against the Steeler defense.
L.A. going to Indianapolis. Doesn't look like Anthony Richardson's going to play. What do you reckon, boss? I'm going to say...
You got to tell me which LA team are we talking about here?
Well, that's a good point. The LA Rams. My bad, Jeff. It's been a long week. LA Rams.
I'm going to take the LA Rams over the Indianapolis Colts, although the Colts are surprising a little bit, I think, early in this season, too. Their defense is back. Their ability to run the ball. They haven't really missed Jonathan Taylor all that much. Anthony Richardson's been hurt, but we got a little Minshew magic last week. I think that'll be the last of it, though, because I really believe the Rams are pretty doggone good. And there's some talk that Cooper Kupp might even play this week.
The Mississippi Mudflap in Gardner Minshew. How do you spell Mississippi, Jeff?
Mississippi.
The show is everything. If you're watching this live, get your questions in because we're going to answer them very soon. Very soon, because we've never rolled through games like this before. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I can't call this. I'm going to be controversial. No, I'm not. The Saints will win this game. It's a home game. Crowds on board. I think the Saints will win this game.
I really don't think Derek Carr's going to play in this game. And if Derek Carr doesn't play, I'm going to take him.
Is he definitely not going to play?
I don't know that for a fact because I haven't seen the injury report today. But I'm going to say if he doesn't play, and if I'm better, I'm not betting this game till the very last second to find out whether he's going to play or not.
He praised Jameis Winston. So take of that. No, do you know what? Do you know what? If it's 30 for 30, Jameis, they win the game. And the quarterback battle emerges in New Orleans. It won't emerge, but I think look, people can be down on Jameis, right? Why not? He's a decent quarterback. At one point, he was unbelievable in the league. I'll take Jameis to win. I'm going to take the Saints to beat the Bucs, regardless who's playing a quarterback. Should have got Taysom Hill there, Jeff. Fire him in, fire him out. It'll be grand. It's like plug and play with these boys, Put your money where your mouth is. Who's winning this game?
I'm going to take the Bucs on the road. And that's a big ask. That's a big ask in New Orleans.
Okay, my man. Okay. Washington at Philadelphia, at Travis Kelce's Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, God. Philly.
And I was not Philly. I said, I'm just leaving it alone. I'm leaving it alone because all I'll do is get in trouble.
It's funny, like they look so different to each other, even though they're brothers. This is a whole different conversation, but he looks like he's such a bigger guy than Travis. That's just brotherly love, isn't it? Right. Cincinnati at Tennessee is really intriguing because you feel like it's a pendulum swing sort of game. We don't know what Joe Burrow, like, I mean, we're presuming he's going to play. He's not 100%. Jeff, I think from watching Burrow grind it out of the weekend, you expect him to win this game, and I expect the Bengals to win this game. But you feel like if there was ever a time for the Titans to win this weekend, man, against the Bengals.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I was betting that somebody said to me, bet this line or bet this game, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it because there's too many things you don't know about, right? And Burrow's health is the number one. It was a huge thing for them to just get through last week. And now I'd stay away from this game. My gut says Tennessee, right? My gut says Tennessee because this is, unless he's significantly better than he was last week. And I don't know. I don't get the injury report, so I can't tell you that.
Okay. Well, next week we're going to have the injury report sitting right here, right now. You're going to ring up Zach Taylor. And you're going to find out all the goss. We're going to start breaking some injury news live in this podcast.
Hey, speaking of the Chargers, I want to give a shout out, and I want to give you a little love on the pod. The Steeler podcast that you do, I've heard, is outstanding. Number one, right? Number two, this week you had an amazing guest who did an amazing job for you. And can you talk about who your guest was, or do we have to just tune in to see?
You just have to. I can't announce it yet. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion. It's not Ben Roethlisberger. Before everyone starts saying, "Is it Big Ben?" It's not Big Ben.
But
tell you what, man, we've spoken.
The guy has been very close to Big Ben,
and he remains very close to Big Ben. We have spoke to some, and I'm talking about the last 5-6 years. We spoke to some unbelievable guests. You and your podcast, but me and mine, as I wreck my microphone.
And it's only going to get better, my man. But I'm telling you, and again, this is just a shout out to anybody that's out there that is a Steeler fan, and even if you're not a Steeler fan, listen to Michael's podcast that he does in Ireland for the Steelers. It is fantastic.
Appreciate you, man. Now, if anyone's watching this in the UK, listen to it if you'd like to have a piss up in Dublin for a weekend, for a game at some point. And if you're in Ireland and you support the Steelers, just download the podcast and press play for 30 seconds. That's all you have to do. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Vegas Chargers. Brandon Staley has got his lifeline. The game is in LA. We don't know what is going on with Jimmy Garoppolo at the minute because he entered a concussion protocol after the game. Why was he not took off that field during that game? Maybe they only, I don't know. And anyway, this has to be a Chargers win. They have to win this game. Huge game for the Chargers.
Yeah, it is a big game. It's a divisional rivalry game. It's an old AFL rivalry game, and it is a game that you should win. And if they want to keep the Wolves from the door, then they need to win this game against the Raiders, and I think they will.
Talking about Wolves from the door, you're a Raiders guy.
Yep.
Raiders. Could Josh McDaniels be gone on Monday if he loses his game?
Michael, there's a whole bunch of stuff swirling around right now, around the Raiders, as is typical for the Raiders. But, Chandler Jones' mental health is a little bit scary. And,
hopefully he's okay. I say not.
Yeah, and I'm praying that the guy's okay and he gets the help that he needs, because obviously he's going through something. But you've had problems. There's talk about division in the locker room. We talked earlier in the week about Hunter Renfrow has been targeted 3 times in 3 weeks. He's a Pro Bowl receiver. There's all kinds of, as always, as it seems to be with the case with the Raiders, there's all kinds of, drama swirling around them. Back in the day, when they were the silver and black and, just win, baby, and all of that, pride and poise guys and all that Al Davis had, he wanted that. He encouraged that. But these days, it just seems to be a constant distraction to the football team.
It's really strange because you feel like they have something going there, and it's like, well, there's always something happening,
Yeah.
And
And that's, first of all, they're not very good on defense yet. And, you think about Max Crosby, the plays Max Crosby is able to make, and he's the only guy up front that they've got. He gets double teamed, he gets chipped, they run the ball away from him. I mean, he's made an incredible amount of plays for a guy that has no, like there's nobody to help him really on defense. And, they just can't seem to get the defense better. I think the offensive line, which was a problem for years, has gotten better. They've got weapons, right? Devontae Adams, we talked about Hunter Renfrow, the shiny new toy at tight end, the Meyer kid from Notre Dame. So, for whatever reason, they can't put a defense on the field that's, can win games for them.
Time will tell this weekend. I'm taking the Chargers. I can't wait to hear you picking this. New England, Dallas. In Dallas. The Patriots defense really put a marker down last week. I think we've talked about this already a wee bit the overnight, and you had a bit of a, I don't know if you've seen it, Jeff, you've been viral a little bit on Instagram with your Dallas Cowboys reel, and you've been doing some great tape as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing the tape over the next few days. People check it out. Jeff's X page. Sorry, Elon. Jeff_Reinebold for all these videos, which I'm enjoying. I think this is tighter than people think it's going to be. I think the Cowboys pull away at the end and win 27-14 or 27-10, but I think it's close going into mid-fourth.
Yeah, I would be surprised if New England scores 14, but I would be, I don't see the Cowboys scoring over 24 against that defense. That defense from New England is very, very good. But offensively, they're still just so challenged. I mean, they kind of ground one out last week against the Jets, 18 straight now against the Jets. But I just don't know if they have the athletes to play with the Cowboys. Although the answer, I think, or one of the ways to beat the Cowboys we saw last week, run the ball right at Micah Parsons. Don't let him be a guy that can chase and run and affect a game like that. Run gap scheme at him, run zone at him, but run right at him and try and knock him off the ball, which, Arizona was able to do to the tune of 180 yards of rushing in the first half, over 200 in the game. And, those are phenomenal numbers against a very, very proud Cowboy team. Dan Quinn went to the podium this week and said that how disappointed he was. It was not to their standard, and, they got to get back to playing to their standard. They don't need to get to their standard to beat the Patriots, because I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to score enough to beat them.
Time will tell. That game is on Sky Sports. We're one game away from the biggest preview of the week. But for now, we got Arizona at San Francisco. It's funny, Jeff, because Mark Hogan and Jason Hayes, who are on Pro Football Ireland, are big Cardinals fans. And they've changed their tune a lot in the last few days. Like Mark at €50 on the Cardinals going to 117. And look what they done last week. Look what they done for 1.5 against the Giants. It's such a question mark team, to be fair. It's hard to go into Levi's and win when you're in that position for any team, really. I'll take San Francisco.
Yeah. San Francisco's just one of the, maybe the 2 or 3 best teams in the league when you look at their roster top to bottom. And, I did a film analysis of Purdy throwing a touchdown pass on the goal line, and just the nuances of it, right? The little small details of it that were so special. The tackle taken too. And again, go to my Twitter page or my X page or to my Instagram page, and you can actually access those videos. And it really does show you just how good that team is and just how good Brock Purdy is, because he's got a free rusher in his face. He knows he's got to stay away from the free rusher. He continues to backpedal after he takes a bad snap and throws the ball right where it has to be. And, we don't talk about his arm talent. We just seem to, all everybody wants to talk about is the fact that he was the Mr. Irrelevant. Well, he's very relevant today because he is one of the top quarterbacks in the National Football League right now.
Monday Night Football is Seattle against New York. It's hard to call this because, on paper for me, Seattle wins this game, but it's New York. It's Monday night, it's prime time. It's hard to know, Jeff. No, actually, no. I'm not placed. I can't. I can't verbally say I trust Daniel Jones. I'll take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really think Seattle make, and that's as tough as it gets when you go from the West Coast to the East Coast, and you got the time issues. And but I think that Seattle, will be able to run the ball against the Giant defense a little bit, and Gino is maybe I won't say most underrated quarterback in the league, but maybe the most underappreciated quarterback in the league. And I'm not a big Geno Smith fan. I'm just going to tell you that. But I think he's done wonders for that Seattle offense.
Here we go. The moment you've been waiting for, Jeff. The biggest game of the week. Sunday Night Football. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, Kansas City Chiefs, going into New York. And what they're saying, and you're going to lose a head here, they're saying this could be the highest rated game outside of the Super Bowl on NBC ever on Sunday night, because somebody is standing in the stands or in the box.
You know what? I tell you what, the NFL, I hope the NFL, I hope that however she got there was by private jet, luxury jet, and that she gets treated because she saved this game. You understand?
She saved the game last week. I mean, the Bears game is.
This was going to be one of the most, anticipated games of the year, right? Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, in New York, the Jets, all of it. And when he went down after 4 plays, this was one of the games you looked at and you go, how can we flex this off the schedule? Because this is awful. And, I don't think the game is going to be close. I think Kansas City will have their way. But I do think that Taylor Swift saves the day and saves the broadcast. And, so hats off to Taylor.
If Travis Kelce scores 2 touchdowns, you're starting the show on Monday night. You're going to sing a song. And
what song?
We'll see. Shake It Off.
Was that one of hers? I couldn't tell you 2 of her. I couldn't tell you one of her songs.
I was going to say, you couldn't tell me 2. You can tell her 1, right? Go on, you play. Chiefs will win this game. And I would, look, be responsible. Team plus 88, etc. Kelsey scored a touchdown in front of his girl. There you go. I'm just putting it out there. Patrick Mahomes could run to the 1 yard line and get down and then throw it off the Travises.
Well, on a prop bet, what do you think the over and under of references to Taylor Swift will be during the broadcast?
500. The best comment I've seen on social. So this came out last night that Swift expected to be at Sunday Night Football. The best tweet I've seen this week is, wait till all the Swiftie fans get a load of Chris Collinsworth. I was like, right. Him just drifting in.
You're bad. You are.
Man, what a sport. What a season. If you had told me a month ago that Aaron Rodgers would be out after 4 plays and I'd be going on national radio tomorrow morning to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. The whole thing is nuts. But just before we read this podcast, because we're going to do a questions thing after, you feeling confident in your picks this week, Jeff?
I'll be honest with you. I would. A lot of those things we talked about, the picks we talked about, I would never bet them. This is a hard week. It's and I know we're sponsored by AA Sport, but we're supposed to gamble responsibly, right? And I'm telling you, these are some very, very difficult games to pick, right? I really think this is a great weekend of football.
It's hard. It's hard because it's like, if you do want to bet a battle, and obviously bet responsibly, but it's hard. Like, you can look at so many games at the over. Like, I like that Niners game for the over. I haven't got the over in front of me, but I like the over because it's the Niners. So we'll see.
I saw the line. I think it was 42 for the Bills and Miami.
42, you said?
42 is low to me for that game, right? So you're talking about each team scores 4 touchdowns. You're well over, right? So and certainly both of these teams can score. So I would, same thing. I would, if I was really seriously looking at every game, it'd be the the over and under that I would bet an awful lot of the time.
53.5 on 888, unfortunately. I like the 53.5.
50 now, 53. Now you're starting to talk about, that's more like in the range that I think it'll be.
Yeah, baby. Big thanks to 88 for the sponsorship and continued support of this podcast. Jeff, have a great weekend. Say aloha, and let's go to the questions.
Aloha.
Okay, Jeff, people in the video, get your questions in the comments. I know you've sent some on Twitter as well. Let us know where you're from, Jeff. Start the podcast off as if somebody had it in their ears tomorrow morning after Thursday Night Football. Go for it.
Well, I know you're tired from that great game last night, Thursday Night Football, the Lions against the Packers, but we ask you to get your game face on and join us again today. We're taking your questions. We're taking your hot takes. We're taking your rants. We're taking all of it because this is the show where you get an opportunity to participate.
I call this Jeff's mailbag every week on the podcast network, and certainly looking forward to hearing your answers to people's questions, Jeff. And
Michael, before we take a question, I have a personal thing I have to do. I want to say thank you to Dublin, to all the football fans in Dublin. We have sold out the Woolshed in Dublin 2 months before the show. That's been the demand on tickets for our show in the Woolshed Bar, brought to you by 888 Sport, the official gambling partner of the National Football League in both Ireland and the UK. We are going to have a great night in the Woolshed, and we're going to, Mike, let's sell out all 6 of our Irish shows and then our Scottish show and both of the UK shows, because I know we're going to do one in London.
Yeah. So Limerick is going fast. There's under half of Cork left. Belfast is going well. It's picking up. Derry's doing well. Galway's flying. It's going to be a good time, Jeff. Thanks to everybody in Dublin. Really, really appreciate it. And thanks, obviously, you've got Glasgow and Manchester. Also, linktr.ee/Reinebold. There you go, my man. Have you a question for me, Jeff, or we just get on with the questions, do you think?
Yeah, I got a question for you. I mean, I want to talk to you about the Broncos. You don't want to talk
next
about
week? No.
Next week? Huh?
Can we talk about them in March?
Can your ponies, right, who got ridden hard and put away wet by the Miami Dolphins, can they bounce back this week?
It's hard to know. Like I don't know why I thought the game was in Denver. It's in Chicago. Like this would be a typical moment for Chicago to go and win at home in a tight game. Like a 10-7 or like a 14-10. Do you know what I mean? Like it just feels like this could be one of those games where Chicago, like, no harm to the crack, but if Chicago beat the Denver Broncos on Sunday, I don't, like, they're walking home. They're not going to the airport.
Here's a little side ditto for you, right? Do you know where Sean Payton is from?
Chi-Town?
Chicago, suburban Chicago. Went to Eastern Illinois, played quarterback at Eastern Illinois, right? He's going home. Now, if he gets drilled out in Chicago, so I think,
but what's worse, 70 bag to the Dolphins or losing to the Bears in their current state?
I'm saying they're not going to lose. I'm going to pick your ponies.
But hypothetically, like, can I get like a Chicago Bears win, Donna Kelsey sided double bet prop going here somewhere?
You can do anything you want.
Anyway, questions. Clive from London. Are we going to see the Jags doing regular back-to-back games in London? And is this testing the water for a franchise? Can I go first here, Jeff? Do you mind? I don't think we're ever going to get a franchise, Clive. I think games are better. Like, get them over, get them home, get them fed, get them washed, is what you said. Get them in the plane, get them home to America. I'm happy enough of going over for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks to games. I just don't see how a franchise works. I think they'll talk about it because it's newsworthy and stuff, and of course it is. And the way it's grown has been sensational. But not for me, Jeff. What do you think?
I think every game is a test, right? Every game in Germany is a test. Every game, in Mexico is a test. Every game, anywhere they play a game is a test. And they're talking about taking a game to Spain. What does that tell you? If I'm a marketing researcher, I see an industry that's testing the water, seeing if there is a market available for them to expand, because this is a global business, right? It's way bigger than the fans. It's way bigger than the teams. It's way bigger than the players. It's a global, gigantic industry, right? And so the commissioner has already said that he would like to have a European division, right? We're going to have a game in Munich. We're going to have a game in Frankfurt. We're going to have a game in Madrid. We're going to have a game in 2 games in London. So there's a test marketing being done. There's no reason why it can't work, right? Especially if you get a 14 European division, right? Then it's really, really doable. Here's the thing. There's a 32 league European League of American Football that operated this year for the 3rd season. They have a national television contract in Germany. You can watch the games on stream. And they had 40,000 people at their championship game last week in Duisburg. 40,000. So the market is there. And if the market's there, if the money is there, if the revenue stream is there, then the NFL is silly not to come.
We'll see. I think the natural progression is to buy the EFL and to develop that. I think that's, and to have NFL money on it. I feel like it's a pivotal moment for the game in the UK. Personally, I think, it's a big year. And I could certainly, going back to Clive's first part of the question, I could see the future being where the Jags have regular back-to-back games. Because it's worked out very well this year. I thought this game was a good game on paper. I think Mark Hogan said in the podcast overnight, he expects 4 or 5 of those teams that are coming to London and to Frankfurt to get to the playoffs, which is unheard of, So I think if the quality is there, I'd prefer to have that than a gamble, which I believe it. Look, it's always a gamble, but I until you can put 50,000 people into, okay, let's be prudent. Until you can put 30,000 people in a stadium in London to watch an ELF game, I remain to be convinced.
Well, I have to say that. I don't agree with you, because here's what I see at work. Jacksonville's a small market city, right? They're having trouble. They need a new stadium. They need new facilities, right? So what do? They have to pass bond issues, which means more taxes, right? And again, most of the people or a lot of the population in Florida are retired people. They're on fixed incomes. They're not going to be able to afford additional taxes. So they'll vote down all of those referendums, right? So the Jags are stuck in a world where, yes, there is, shared revenue in the National Football League and all of that. But it's about not only the number of people you can put in the stands, it's how can you grow all the other aspects of your business, right? And when you're in a small market like Jacksonville, it's very, very difficult. If you come to London, or if you come, to any other major city, right? Think about, it's about corporate partnerships. It's about sponsorships. It's about way more than just football games. And I'm a football guy, and I'm saying that, right? But that's just
it is like we would not be where we are now without that sort of stuff.
Right?
Let's be honest, we wouldn't be.
Yep.
But it's, you love football, I love football, so we try it. Like, that's obviously first, but that's the reality. With to grow, you have to mix and match that. Jeff, I just be concerned that, do I feel like we get a following for the E? I think there needs to be a team in London in the next 12 months as a matter of urgency. Genuine.
Well, you know what we'll do then is we are going to have the commissioner of the ELF, Patrick Izume, on our show, and we'll talk about where his growth. They just put a team in Madrid this week. They had their championship game, and on Monday they announced another team in the league, Madrid. So there'll be 2 Spanish teams, Barcelona and Madrid, natural rivals. And we'll get Patrick on the show, and we'll chop this up, and our listeners and our viewers can, get involved in the conversation, because that's what we do here at the Jeff Reinebold Show.
I love it. I'd be openly. I'd get behind the London team in that, because I can't see us getting one because it's too small of a country or an island. So we'll see. Right, we got a few more comments here. Good evening, lads. Looking forward from Rory in Ireland. Looking forward to the games this weekend, but not as much as Jeff's next mic drop line after saying the Jets need to trade a firstborn son to get Kirk Cousins. Actually, do you know what? Let's just go on what Roy said there. Jeff, Trevor Siemian.
No.
What the actual insert word here, if you like, are they doing? Are they just writing off the season?
Well, here's the thing, and sometimes I get caught up in it too, right? Because you think that, okay, who's out there, or who's out there under contract now, that another team might be willing to move to get draft assets or get players or whatever, right? And Minnesota is the first place where it comes to mind, and you think about Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is on a record pace. He's been one of the most successful quarterbacks in the league, just in sheer numbers, not in wins, but in sheer numbers, right? He's a veteran. He's a good leader. All of those things that Trevor Siemian is not, right? And I'm not saying Trevor Siemian is not a good leader. What I'm saying is he's never led a football team. Like, we've watched and he takes a lot of shots, I think, undeservedly for not winning big games. I'm talking about Cousins, right? But the reality of it is he's got them in the playoffs, right? And it's not his fault, right? That it takes a football team to win a championship. And so I think he's that rap that he can't win big games is really undeserved. He's a tremendous quarterback, and he's the kind of guy that you could plug into New York, and I think he could resurrect that thing. But they got to do it before it gets too late, or they're going to be down 3 or 4 games in the loss column, and they won't be able to make up ground. We got another one from Jared Mullins. It's Gur from Galway. We are going to see Gur in Galway, correct?
Jer. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be like. It's funny because Jer will find that funny. He will find that funny.
Why do we not use a J instead of a G?
It's Jared.
I'm learning all the time.
No, the thing is like that, Jeff. I'm sorry, but that is genuinely funny. That is funny. That is funny. Like
so there's my take home line for this week, right? I screwed up and called Gerard, right? Gur, because G-E-R to me is Gur. He's from Galway, and this is what he has to say. When you see how well Geno Smith is playing now after years in the wilderness, who are the quarterbacks who are good enough but simply are not getting opportunities? Man, that is a phenomenal.
And he said maybe players the Jets should target before the season goes off the rails.
That is a phenomenal question, right? Because you think about it, there are some guys who have had chances. Sam Darnold, right? Who knows what Sam Darnold is now, right? Because he's a backup in San Francisco. But he's had chances. Would the Jets be worse off today had they not drafted Wilson and they kept Sam Darnold? We can't say that. You don't know that, right? But there are guys that are out there, and there are some veteran guys that, Matt Ryan. Does Matt Ryan want to play anymore? Does he have anything left in the tank? Right? That's a name. That's a name that's been to the Super Bowl, right? One of the most successful quarterbacks in Falcon history. It's hard to say. We don't know. And it's one of those things about opportunity. One of those guys needs to get the opportunity that Geno got. And I think that's just the way it is. And I'm getting it from Gerard. Right.
Clive also said, thanks for taking the time, Jeff, to answer the question. Really interesting points made. For what it's worth, I think there'll be a European division. London, Germany, Spain, and maybe even Amsterdam. Could you imagine us in Amsterdam for the thing? Matthew from Newry.
I lived in Amsterdam. I was there. I I worked in NFL Europe in Amsterdam, and
Did you have a good time in Amsterdam, Jeff?
it was a good time, and that's where we're going to leave that right now. So let's move on. Matthew Taggart. Matthew, love it because you're always into this and always hitting us up. Even though it's been 3 weeks into the season, can you label the Bears' decision to allow the Eagles to trade up to get Jalen Carter as one of the biggest draft mistakes of the last 10 years? Let me tell you something, my man, Matthew. Ryan Poles is on the hot seat, my man, because if you look at what they've drafted, how they've drafted, and all of those things for the last few years, you got to question what's going on in Chicago. It's that kind of business. What have you done for me lately, right? And lately, all the decisions that Poles seems to make have not been in the best interest of the Bears. Fred Flunk says, if Chicago lose to the Broncos, Eberflus will be fired by Thanksgiving. Okay, there's, when you have a Thanksgiving turkey, right, you take out these big knives and you sharpen these knives. And I think I'm going to be cutting the turkey on Sky Sports on Thanksgiving Day. But you sharpen your knives, right? And I'm going to tell you something. They're already starting to sharpen their knives for some of the coaches in the National Football League. There are a lot of guys that need to know how urgent it is right now to win games. And Eberflus is one of those guys, right? It's just been a mess of a year in Chicago. All the stuff with the quarterback and the coaches. His coach has to resign for shaky, reasons. And, it's been a mess. The Chicago Bears fans deserve better.
They do, Jeffrey. And we've got one more question from John Murray, who's in Dublin. He says he's from Dublin again. I don't think he's going to say he's from Dublin again. We trust him. Can someone please explain to me the decision by Dave Canales or Todd Bowles, whichever one called the play, why they tried to run the ball from their own 1 yard line? They couldn't run the ball all night, so why try it then? This is in relation to our FaceTime conversation, Jeffrey, that we had on Monday Night Football, if you remember.
Yep, I do remember. Let me tell you something. One of the best guys I ever worked for, one of the best head coaches I ever worked for, is head coach with the Falcons and also with the then San Diego Chargers. And then I worked for him at the University of Hawaii. I worked for him at SMU, and I worked for him here in Canada. June Jones. And his favorite thing to do when you're at the 1 yard line is drop back and throw a 9 route. And a 9 route's just a vertical route. It's just a takeoff route. And he was famous for that. And his reasoning was, you got to get the ball off your doorstep, right? And in the run and shoot, the offense that he ran, you don't run the ball very much, nor typically very well. And so they would take a shot down there because his belief was there's 3 things that could happen, and 2 of them are good. There's either a pass interference and you get the ball at the spot of the foul, all right? So let's say if you throw it 50 yards, it's a 50-yard gain. You complete it, or if it's incomplete, it's second down again. So, I agree with you. I think you got to take a shot off your own goal line like that.
Jeff, and now the time has come. We must face the final curtain. No, here, that's not for the week.
Are you getting all weepy on me? Are you getting all sentimental?
Getting all weepy. Getting all Taylor Swifty. We'll start. The players got to play. They're going to play Thursday Night Football, mate. And I tell you what, you have changed your tune about Tay.
I know. No. See, that's why I like, you get me in.
No, it's funny. You have to realize
it
was just funny on Monday, man. It was funny, like it was funny. Like I don't think anyone expected. Like you were like, oh, come on, I want to talk football. It was like, yeah, like football.
What do I think? Listen, this is not TMZ. This is not the Hollywood Reporter. This is not rock, whatever that Rolling Stone magazine or whatever that music.
And you're bang on. You're bang on. Now I on Monday said it was good crack. I thought it was funny, but even now I am like, lads, come on. Like, come on. Now if they get married, brilliant. We live stream the wedding. Fantastic. But like, yeah, it's getting a bit like, it is getting a bit sports center sort of stuff. Like it needs to stop, but it's not gonna. It's gonna go into overdrive this weekend.
It's pop culture, man. It's pop culture, and it's what sells tickets, and it's what grows the game. So I'm all for it.
Well, as Taylor says, um, something Starbucks lovers will tell you I'm insane. You can always hate the player, but I love the game. I love the game. So we'll be there Sunday night seeing our guy Travis. Big fan of the Jeff Reinebold show.
I thought she loved the player.
Huh?
I thought she loved the player.
She loves the players, but she hates the game. Oh, right enough. I've messed that one up, Taylor. The Swifties are. See, this is the thing. If we can get the Swifties onto this podcast now, Jeff, like this is like think of the advertising.
You know what? I think we should do that. I think we ought to reach out, right? We ought to reach out to the head of the Taylor Swift fan club, get her on the broadcast, and we can talk a little football with her.
I'm gonna let you organize that one, man.
You know what? I think I'm onto something here. I think you need to do this. You need to contact the Taylor Swift fan club in your native Ireland. Get the lady on. I would guess it's a lady, maybe a man. I don't know, but get that person on, and then they can make picks with us next week. I'm in.
I like that.
I'm in. I'm all for it.
As Matthew
tell
says,
us what you think. Do you really? Is that not one of the greatest ideas? I don't know, since driving a car,
since the electric car or a bulb or something. Matthew says Michael Jeff has a blank space and he will write your name. Thank you so much. I appreciate
that was a Taylor Swift reference.
It was. I'll take you to see Swifty next year in Dublin anyway. So crack. But Jeff, good crack, man. Looking forward to week 4. Yeah.
Yep. Week 4 going to be a big one. We're fighting for a playoff spot. We win, we're in the playoffs. And again, a tremendous weekend of football coming for you. We will break it all down and we'll talk about it next week and chew it up. To all of you in the tribe, we love you very much. Thank you and aloha.
Give us a wee shout in Dublin if you see us. Dublin Airport, 5 a.m. Sunday morning. My order is a Guinness. Good night. See you Monday, Jeff.
All right, brother.